Welcome to Inside Indiana Overtime, where we will use zero Valentine's Day puns to talk about Denzel Valentine and Michigan State. Don't worry. This is a Valentine's Day joke safe zone. Alex McCarthy, Jordan Gusky, and we're in my apartment. We just watched Indiana really kind of fall apart in the second half at number 8, Michigan State. Michigan State wins 88-69 in a game that was close, that Indiana led for, what did you say, 11 minutes? Something like that?
Yeah.
The first half, Indiana played fairly well. They had a stretch where they shot the ball really, really well, and then leading into halftime, Michigan State went on a 9-0 run to take the lead going into halftime, and Indiana just wasn't able to take that punch, basically, it seemed like. Which was kind of, you remarked about this before we started, was it was what could have happened against Iowa, kind of.
Right. And the big part of what happened against Iowa was that they were, although even when they weren't making shots, they were able to make stops on the defensive end, so that even though they weren't scoring, neither was Iowa. And then once the shots started falling, they got back into it and they ended up winning the game. But against Michigan State, they didn't stop really on many possessions at all. And I think the weirdest thing for me the whole entire game was that IU out-rebounded Michigan State for offensive rebounds specifically 16-7, but only had 5 second chance points, and Michigan State had 15. If you have that many offensive rebounds and that many second chances to get baskets, you need to be scoring those. And if you're not going to score those, that's really going to hurt your chances. And then and most of those offensive rebounds came on like the same possession. They would do 2 or 3 on the same possession, and they still wouldn't be able to score. Which not only kills the clock if you're trying to make a comeback, but it kills your shot percentage. It just kills your morale if you're still going after it. And we remember there was the one play where OG Anunoby blocked a shot, and then it went right to Costello. And Costello tossed it back out to Valentine, I believe, who just nailed a 3.
Yeah.
And it was just like indicative of the whole entire game for IU. Just like nothing was going their way in the second half, and that was just kind of a dagger in the heart.
Yeah, like every bounce, everything that happened went very poorly for Indiana. There was another time when Anunoby blocked a shot on one end, and then took a 3 on the other end and got blocked, and then got the ball back, went inside, took another shot and got blocked again. It was just, Indiana wasn't really able to do that much inside for a lot of the game. Matt Costello, who's going to be one of the, or I guess probably the record holder at Michigan State for blocked shots at some point of the season, blocked 3. Devontae Davis blocked, I think, 4 shots, and they just totally ate up Indiana inside. You were talking about some of those rebounds and second chance attempts, and Indiana just wasn't able to really do anything with them, whether it was Anunoby, whether it was Thomas Bryant, whether it was Max Bielfeldt. Bielfeldt played pretty well tonight. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds in his 4th start of the season. First time in a long time that Indiana hasn't used Colin Hartman in the starting lineup. But it seemed, that decision seemed to work for Indiana. Bielfeldt played pretty well, but there are a lot of times where Indiana guys would get offensive rebounds and then try and put it right back up, not even really looking for guys outside or to reset the offense or anything like that. They just wanted to put the ball back up, and it just did not go well. Indiana shot something like 32% from the floor in the second half. For the game, they shot 38%, which it's a little bit of a concerning trend for IU. They shot 36% against Penn State last weekend, and that's just something that last year kind of plagued them down the stretch as well. They had I wrote about this early after the Penn State loss, but Indiana had 7 games last season where it shot under 40%, and 5 of them came after January 28th. Kind of down the stretch when you're supposed to be playing your best. Now Indiana's had 2 of 3 games where they're shooting under 40%, coupled with their 2 for 18 3-point shooting night against Minnesota the week before. It just seems like they're kind of starting to lose that ability to just knock down shots all the time.
Yeah, and it's against teams like Michigan State who can play you both on the outside and on the inside. I use a team that early in the year we were looking at as who they were great at 3-point shooting, and would they be able to continue that? And now it's just not. I think it was the Minnesota game, and then that little stretch they had some trouble with 3-point shooting, we were wondering, okay, but this is just a couple games.
Hmm.
Like, this is just a couple games.
Right.
They're going to regain their focus. They'll get it, and they'll move on. But
That's what Tom Crean was saying
it's,
too.
it's,
You
it's
know,
just keep shooting,
I'm not
keep shooting
concerned.
threes.
Yeah, they didn't shoot enough threes. I thought. Yeah,
and they shot 30 against Michigan State, only made 11. Michigan State shot 23 and made 10. And when you don't have to shoot as many and still get the same amount of production, you're not going to beat that kind of team.
Yeah, and Denzel Valentine was a huge part of that. He was 5 for 8 from 3, 13 assists. That's the career high, 30 points. Costello, who we mentioned earlier, career high 22 points, and he also had 11 rebounds. So those two guys really just ate Indiana alive, basically. Bryn Forbes had a good first half, but they didn't really need him in the second half. So that's basically all the kind of takeaways that we're gonna have on this. We're gonna record a podcast here in just a little bit after the IU women's game ends to kind of wrap up the week, which is a very important one for both teams, as the women are kind of fighting for a spot in the NCAA tournament. But we're gonna end it here. Once again, Indiana loses to Michigan State 88-69. They're back in action Wednesday night against Nebraska, 8:30 tip-off, right?
8:30.
We'll be there, and we will be back in action ourselves. So be sure to stay tuned, but thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your Sunday and Valentine's Day.